it's a possibility, something that happens.
Yes, you know, we are a highly religious society.
Rightly.
People believe pastors, believe native doctors, what they say, and not what they think or how they look at the world.
All right.
And these people are taking advantage of people's ability. Because just like in churches, once we hear is God, we want to be there. Because we have a strong connection with God. Every human being has that connection with God. Once you hear God, you give your soul out.
Right.
So now he believed this man because he saw him as a representative of God, somebody that used to hear from God. But your parents, I believe your parents are the first representative of God in your life. So these are the people you should first of all listen to before you listen to another person.
All right.
But parents, what happens is that some parents have failed to play their roles in the lives of their children.
Do you think the role playing is what made the guy to degenerate to this point?
There's something I want to say.
Okay.
You know, the spiritual advisor said your mother
is the one hindering your prosperity.
It's just like she's withholding your destiny, withholding your wealth.
Can a mortal man withhold the destiny of another mortal man?
In terms of your parents, yes, because your parents. I'm not saying that your parents have bad intentions for you. In fact, the first people, the only people that love your progress in this life, they are your parents.
Right.
Your parents, first and foremost, before any other thing. These are the people that truly want you to be greater than they are. But now, how do you withhold your children's wealth or progress? By failing to bless them. Are you getting it? Now, when you see that your children are coming of age, you call them, ask them to give you something or prepare a special meal for you. After that, you bless them.
Are we using the biblical version of the blessing?
Yes, that everything in the Bible is just is a lesson to us. But many people don't want to learn. I have a friend that before his father died, he called him to call home, and the man said, "Go and get a big fowl for me. Prepare it for me," just like Jacob.
Right.
Did for his son, he wanted to do for his special son. Many families don't do that. So you in fact, any word you release to bless your children will always happen. Are you getting it? You always bless your children. I remember anytime I speak with my mom, before she calls the call, she would bless me.
So you think this guy killed his mother because he didn't get enough blessings?
Now, it's not like that. The boy was misled. Are you getting it? He was misled that his mother didn't want his progress or was withholding his progress. But if the mother had played her role on time,
right,
everything has to be by telling him how much she loved him. You know how much he wanted to progress.
It is quite difficult to ascertain if his mother must have told him this regularly,
yes,
or if she had blessed him. Now, looking at the society and the desire to get rich quick,
that is
right,
the root cause.
Do you agree that failure to follow processes have pushed youths into doing things that are extraordinary?
Everything is about education. You know, it's not only when we are growing up, we didn't hear this much talk of sex education, but now people are talking about sex education.
Right.
But it's not only sex education. People should be talking about. We should be talking about health education, prosperity education. You should be teaching your children. You should educate your children about life in general. So teaching this guy did not have good upbringing, because somebody, if you have good upbringing, you will not go and kill your parents. These are the people.
But you know that there is something as peer pressure. There is something as trying to please society. There is something as trying to upgrade to be like your peers. Now, when someone trains a child, right, people, you notice that two kids grow up from the same family background, the same nurturing, the same love, the same attention. Oftentimes, sometimes, you know, someone turns out to be this, the other person turns out to be that.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? Because we are not certain as regards to, we cannot concretely say he was not well brought up, or he was not loved from home.
I know that the pressure of peer group is very strong, because these are the people you always meet all the time. But if, as a parent, if you do your work, if you do thorough work at home, your child will be able to withstand the pressure coming from outside.
How do you do that work?
Now, if you start teaching your child on time to avoid bad friends, are you getting it? To avoid bad friends, to embrace hard work, to focus on education. If you take a look at the child's age, he's still 22. So where was he rushing to? At his age.
Don't you think that is where the peer pressure and get rich quick thing is coming from?
So yes, because the guy must have met his friends who were into one business or the other, and they were doing well, and people, they were, you know, having people were giving them respect or something like that. So he wanted to be like them. But if you start on time, this is my own personal belief. If you start on time, I grew up from a family. If you start on time to train your child on the way he should go, when he grows up, he will not depart from it. So now at this age, 22, you should be thinking about building the platform for wealth. If it's education, getting good education. If it is skills, handiwork, handicraft, getting good handicraft. Now, the time for you to make wealth will always come.
Exactly. Now,
if it's a relationship, nobody wants to. Many homes have broken today. Many marriages have shattered because of material things. So it's because of, you know, modernity has its downsides. People are so intoxicated. People are so they are too excited about modernity, about technology, high iPhone, all these big cars. These are the things that people are interested in. But if we, as a society, if we start teaching people, orientating people about building wealth, wealth is built. It doesn't just fall from the sky. You must start something, and I believe a lot of people are doing that. Start something, get a skill. Get knowledge. Knowledge is a skill. I said last time here that knowledge, for me, knowledge is the greatest skill in this life. Because there's no cost. Even if I study law today, I wanted to study law before. If I study law today, I will study it in a way that when I come out, I use it to start a business.
I
open my own chamber, or even to take it to a higher level, the next level. So whatever thing you are doing in life, be serious about it. There is time for that thing to mature. There was something, I don't know whether you saw my post last time. I said every business has a time to explode.
All right.
If you start any business today, you are selling crayfish, you are selling vegetable,
right?
Fruits, vegetable. There is time for that business
to bloom. Now, one last question before we move to our next topic. Being as religious as we are, do you think this advent of religion, and I'm talking about every other practice, pagan practice, Christian, Muslim, and all of the other things people worship nowadays, do you think as a people and as a society, because Christianity has been there for a long time, we've had all the Anglican, we've had the monks, we've had, you know, a lot of things from way back then, and we didn't have this level of high crime rate as it is now. Do you think religion and religious practices, right, has made or mad us as a people?
Well, for some people, religion has been a good thing. For others, religion has become a very bad thing.
What do you think about religion and tradition, if it has made or mad? You know, back in the day, people would say, I want to, the way we settle cases, I don't know if you ever read, what's the name of that, Chinua Achebe's book,
Things Fall Apart.
Things Fall Apart. In Things Fall Apart, you see the history of what our tradition is before civilization came to us, right? That is like in the post-colonial era.
Western civilization.
Yes, before Western. In the post-colonial era, you see the way we settle disputes as a people in that Chinua Achebe's book. You see the, you know, the way we get married, the counting of sticks. You see all of this as a process now. Then we still had native doctors, right? We still had people that did religious practices. But coming now, when you hear about a native doctor, he's not trying to heal any wounds. Then they used to call them medicine men. They used to heal wounds. They used to do lots of things. Now, if you bring in now with the current religious setup that we have, do you think tradition and religion has made or mad us as a people?
Just like I said, for some people, I don't believe religion has mad me. Instead, religion has strengthened my relationship with God.
Great.
But people should be able to know the difference between religion and personal relationship with God.
Right.
You know, if you take a look at the story of Martin Luther of Germany, not Martin Luther King Jr., Martin Luther of Germany, in fact, the first person that started Reformation that led to Protestantism and brought us to where we are today, the man said that church should not define how you behave. The church should not tell you how to worship God. That's worshiping God. It has to do with the way you relate, your personal encounter, how God has met you on your way to sin. Just like Paul, if God did not meet him that way, he wouldn't have championed Christianity the way he championed it. So if you have a personal relationship with God, I don't think anybody can come and influence you. Come and say your mother is trying to kill you, your uncle is trying to do it. I know that bad people exist. Or is trying to tell me this person is you are not supposed to marry this person. You are supposed to marry this person. And if you take a look at our tradition now, you see that religion has tried to sideline tradition. In Igbo tradition, it is the parents of the girl that approves the marriage, and not a pastor. But now, especially our girls, they listen to, when they want to get married, they listen to their pastors more than their parents.
Now, I want to ask you one quick question, right? What are your thoughts about mental health? Now, we see lots of people on the road in Nigeria. Some people mentally stressed because of society on one hand. The other set of people that are stressed because they abuse drugs. There are other people that are stressed because of pressure. How do you think as a people we perceive mental health awareness? How do you think as a people, because from the story they said when the guy came back from Benin, he was behaving, he had an erratic behavior.
Yes.
Now, what are your thoughts on mental health and how we relate to it as a people?
If you take a look at the guy's story, the guy might have been influenced spiritually. Maybe a certain spirit had possessed him.
Why him? Why did the spirit pick
so
him as a person?
He looked for that spirit by going to the shrine. He looked for the spirit in the first place by going to the shrine.
You know,
something like that happened.
We don't have enough time, but there's one thing I want to add to this. I want to ask. I just mentioned the way in pre-colonial era, everybody went to the shrine. So why were spirits not possessing people to kill their parents then?
You know, in that time, the symbol of justice was very active. In the olden days, people that kept their hands clean were stronger than evil people. Because if you did any evil thing, justice, all those shrines were active. Are you getting it? Even thunder. I remember my maternal grandfather. He was killed. He was poisoned, and those that killed him, he used thunder to destroy, to visit them, and he took them. Are you getting it? According to the story. So that time, our object of justice was very, very strong. Now this.
And now we have lost it.
I know they have, you know, just like when you plant something, when somebody that doesn't have the grace plants something or touches something, that thing may die. So these evil people, they have
the system has been infiltrated.
They have defied these shrines. So anything that happens, if anybody does anything bad in the community, nothing happens. Many evil people are living and no consequences. No consequences.
Thank you so much for your insight on that, Mr. Njibisi. We go right into our next story. National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has announced the recall of astazamolamide tablets, USP 125 mg from the Nigerian market due to the contamination concerns. The affected batch, identified by batch number 30575HF1, was manufactured by Rubicon Research Private Limited, an American pharmaceutical company. The recall follows the discovery of dirty and color tablets in the affected lots. Astazolamide is a potent carbonic address inhibitor commonly used in the treatment of conditions such as glaucoma, certain types of seizures, and abnormal fluid retention like cardiac edema. The medication helps regulate fluid secretion, promotes diuresis, and manage altitude sicknesses. NAFDAC has urged importers, distributors, retailers, and consumers to be cautious and avoid the importation, distribution, sale, or use of the affected lot. The agency also emphasized that medical products should be sourced only from authorized licensed suppliers and that their authenticity and physical condition should be checked thoroughly. Anyone in possession of the affected product is advised to stop using or selling it and to submit any remaining stock to the nearest NAFDAC office. Consumers who have the product or experience any adverse reaction are urged to seek immediate medical attention from a qualified healthcare professionals. One quick question. I'm just going to do two questions before we leave this topic. Why do we have to wait for it to be in the market before we start recalling it?
Because, you know, this thing is an imported drug.
Right, yeah.
So the question is, how did it penetrate the country? How did it come inside the country? So you question, we have to question is it the immigration or the customs?
The regulatory bodies.
And the regulatory bodies. These are the people that stop bags of rice at the borders. They stop a lot of goods at the borders, saying that some of them are contaminated, some of them are not rice, they are rubber. I think you have seen that kind of news before.
Yes,
so why did they allow this one to enter? That means these people might have paved their way in.
So why does it have to pave its way in? You know, why do you think our system isn't proactive enough to be in a way where we don't think about solutions after the problem?
Now, last time I said that many people that serve in our institutions, in our government, they are not there to serve. Many people are there because they are looking for money. If you have people that are really concerned about the country, that are really patriotic, you see when you look at what is happening in America, people give their lives for their country. People they take a lot of risks to discover something that is wrong, and at the end of the day, you see that thing will be solved. The fact is that we don't look at all these things as national security issues.
Right.
Everything should be looked at. Everything in this country, everything that's coming inside the country should be looked at from the national security point of view. If this thing comes into our country, is it coming to kill us? Is it coming to make our lives better? What impact will it make on the lives of Nigerians? But people that can ask these vital questions are people that love the country, people that are in government to serve, people that are in positions to make sure that the right things are done.
So what systemic changes do you think should be put in place to make people more diligent in service? People first thoughts in the mind of, these agencies. What do you think? What systemic structures should be put in place in a way where the consideration goes first to being patriotic?
Yes. Now, if you can recall, I said last time that people that serve in our police force, in our military, they should, before you recruit them, they should go through background check.
Okay.
What kind of view or views does this person have? Has he committed any crime before? How does he look at money? How does he look at life? These things are necessary. So our government should be able to employ or appoint people that want to serve, people of good character, of good reports. First and foremost, you don't joke with good character in anything.
How do you then find people with good character? How do you ascertain that someone's character is the best?
In Nigeria, we do a lot of recommendation. We do a lot of recommendation in jobs. Most of federal government jobs are recommended. Many people are handpicked. So we can set up a committee.
So are you saying that people don't get those jobs on merit?
People get, but I'm telling you what is happening in Nigeria.
Tell us what is happening in Nigeria.
So many people are just giving jobs. Many people get jobs because they have people that can speak for them. Which is a normal
thing. If we have a good recommendation system, as you rightly say, why do we have this sort of people that value financial gains more than the health and well-being? This is a very important medication.
Yes. Now, if you take a look at some people or some people you met in school, you know how they used to behave, and some of them now are in good positions. Are you getting it? I'm a witness. So if you give me the opportunity, I know what to do. It's not everybody you have, even be a president of a country, it's not everybody that should be the president. But he wants somebody to be there because he's our brother, or because he's our this, he's our that. No.
So what do you think a mindset shift would be for
us? I want to look at, you said something about our tradition of African ancient civilization. In the olden days, our parents could, or even our fathers, they could deny their children or their own son a particular thing because they discovered that son was not well trained or did not behave well. If you look at history, a particular history in Rivers State or anywhere, you see that somebody denied his son the throne. If you watch Gladiator, Emperor Aurelius, if I pronounce the word right, so you see that he looked at his son Commodus. He said, no, he can't be the emperor. He told the general, he said he's not a moral man
enough to be the
Are you getting it?
So picking the right people is the best way
that is the,
to
that
go
is,
about
is there is no compromise when it comes to character, when it comes to good report. Give it to the right person. You see how the country will be.
Thank you so much for that insight and that individuality. And straight to our last story. I urge my daughters to slap back. Sanusi, 16th Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi II, has called for a strong stance against domestic violence, emphasizing that Islam prohibits any form of harm against women. Speaking at the National Dialogue Conference on Gender-Based Violence held in Bayero University, Kano, the Emir urged parents to empower their daughters to defend themselves if faced with domestic violence. I always tell my daughters when they are getting married, if your husband slaps you, slap him back, he stated, asserting that violence against women violates human dignity. The conference, themed Islamic Teachings and Community Collaboration for Ending Gender-Based Violence, was authorized and organized by the Center for Islamic Civilization and Interfaith Dialogue in collaboration with the Development Research and Project Center and supported by the Ford Foundation. Highlighting findings from this research on family law across 9 Sharia courts in Kano over 5 years, Sanusi revealed alarming statistics. 41% of cases were related to maintenance issue, 26% concerned harm, with 45% involving domestic violence. These cases include several severe injuries such as broken limbs and knocked out teeth, contradicting the Islamic allowance for light disciplinary measures that are often misinterpreted. Sanusi condemned the cultural normalization of domestic violence, urging men to follow Islamic teachings that emphasize the removal of harm and respect for women. He said, beating your wife or daughter is not just haram, it is a crime, he affirmed. The event also featured Dr. Hassan Korofi, Director of Partnerships and Strategic Communications at DRPC, who outlined efforts to engage Muslim opinion leaders in gender-based violence prevention. What are your thoughts on this story?
Well,
do you think retaliation of slap is the way to end gender-based violence?
It can never end it. I believe he was speaking to end violence against women.
Yeah.
But he ended up compounding it. If a woman is slapping back in marriage, that marriage will scatter.
Don't you think the marriage has already scattered when the man is slapping first?
Hold on. Violence in marriage is a sign that something is wrong in that marriage. I don't believe that a couple that loves each other will go through violence. You see some people breaking their couple's head, some people stabbing this kind of story. Now, if you love your wife enough, you will not beat her.
Right.
If you love your husband enough, a woman that loves her husband, even if the husband slaps her, she will not slap back.
Why?
That is I'm speaking from experience.
Do you know that do you know this thin line? You know there's a thin line. It's often said that there's a thin line between love and hate.
There's a thin line between love and hate.
Right. It doesn't take more than a slap for someone to fall down and die.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you think if a woman slaps a man that supposedly loves her and she slaps him back in love, do you think that is wrong counting?
Well, I would not endorse that kind of thing. I will never teach my daughters to slap a man back.
What would you teach your daughters?
I would teach my daughters first and foremost.
Okay.
He was supposed to teach his daughters good behavior.
Are you saying that when women are abused or slapped in marriages, they...
You know, he's talking about the daughter slapping the husband back.
after the man has already dished out the slap.
So why have you create? Why would you create a kind of violence in the minds of your daughters?
Because the society, has become erratic, where people slap people for no reason.
You can't.
Where people slap their wives.
If I, as a man,
did you see the part where we read about knocking off of teeth?
If I, as a man, if I know that my daughter will experience violence in a particular marriage, I will not allow my daughter to go there.
How do you ascertain that is going to happen? Lots of this domestic violence is happening now.
To tell you something, if I have a daughter and I know my daughter is well behaved, you engage in violence against my daughter. If it's not my daughter that will slap you.
Who's going to be doing it? Who's going to be doing the slapping?
Are you getting it? Now I have a sister of mine, starting from when she was little. She used to respect me. Till now, she's a pharmacist now, based in VI. She respects me. She honors me. Are you getting it?
All right.
And she loves me. I can take risks for her, and she knows that I can do that for her. And I know that if you offend her, she doesn't insult you. She'll just walk away. I have told her that any man that's coming to marry you, I will tell the man, this is my sister, I love her so much. Comes to me crying, I know that she has endured so much. I will never ask she's crying. I'll first of all pour my anger before I start and I'll sit you down.
Explain this point of anger. How do we pour our anger?
So I'll first of all, I will do ×2. I'm not a violent person, but I'm trying to tell you the level of love I have for my sister because she respects me. Are you getting it?
Right.
The same thing applies to a man that loves his wife. If the wife respects the man, honors the man, and another person, or she comes home to tell you that a man slapped her outside. In fact, if I don't have, I can't borrow it. So that is how life. That is that. The first thing we need to teach.
Right. I wanted to go before we get there. I wanted to ask you,
manners.
Other than teaching your daughters, right? How do we train stable-minded, kind boys and girls?
Good.
And picks a woman before a lady decides to pick a husband and they are returning slaps. How do we train mentally balanced children that grow up to love one another? And real quick, because you're almost out of time.
That's why, family is the foundation of everything. If you have a father that loves your mother, you will know the value of, you know the meaning of love. You will grow up knowing the meaning of love, meaning of sacrifice. My mother, the marriage of my parents before my father died was not perfect, but I can assure you that there was love, a high level of sacrifice. My father sold a lot of lands to make sure that my mother went to the highest hospital to stay alive. Today my mother is alive, my father is dead. And when my father was in his deathbed, I know my mother used to carry the sheets, do all those things, take care of her.
Do you think that's impacted you right now and in your own marriage that you're in?
That's it. I saw a high level of sacrifice between my parents. Are you getting it? And if you look at my siblings, it's there. You can't. If I have any issue now, everybody will become restless until that issue is solved. So there is love. So if somebody grows up like that, and he meets the right person, somebody that will not bring out the worst in him, surely it will reflect.
Right.
So that's how.
I would have really loved to know how they bring out the worst in people, but we are really out of time. We're going to talk about that off camera. This is where we wrap it up on this episode of Atlantic Society Watch. Thank you so much, Mr. Ndubisi, for always gracing us and blessing us with great insight. I'm grateful to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Is that the end of the show?
Remember that we're open for advert placement, news and event coverage, personality, society and political interviews, product, service promotion and commercials. Remember to connect with us also on our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. On Instagram and TikTok, we're on Atlantic TV Network 1, on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Remember, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you so much for watching. I am Otaria Benjamin. Up next is Gaps, so stay with us.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.